Coming up on Network Africa. 24 kidnapped schoolgirls released and reunited with their families after 1 week in captivity in Kebbi State, Nigeria. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer calls for global pressure to end killings in Sudan as US envoy denies bias in the ceasefire proposal. Plus, Uganda prepares for elections in January. The opposition party claims security forces arrested hundreds of its supporters at a rally. Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin with some cheering news here in Nigeria. The military has formally handed over the freed 24 students of Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, GGCSS Maga in Kebbi State, who were abducted over a week ago to the governor, Nasir Idris. The ceremony was performed by the Theatre Commander, Major General Idris Wara, on Tuesday night in Benin, Kebbi, acting on the directive of the Minister of State for Defense, Mohammed Bello Matawale. Receiving the schoolgirls, Governor of Kebbi State, Nasir Idris, expressed gratitude to Almighty God and thanked President Bola Tinubu for deploying the full machinery of government towards the success of the operation. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has welcomed the release of the girls and commended security agencies for their role in securing the release. The freed 24 students of the Government Girls Secondary School have now been officially handed over to their parents. So this next report highlights their release on Tuesday.
No deaths, no injuries.
On November 17, the news of the abduction of 24 schoolgirls from Maga, Kebbi State, took the nation by surprise. Immediately after the abduction, the president deployed the vice president, Kashim Shettima, the Minister of State for Security, Bello Matawale, to the state towards securing the girls' release. And on Tuesday, the Inspector General of Police was also in the state, vowing to ensure the release of the girls.
Okay, student of
GGCSS.
Okay, number 1 Kenanko.
Yes.
You?
All the efforts appeared to have paid off with the release of the girls.
Okay, number what?
3.
Okay.
GGCSS 3.
Okay, you?
A statement by presidential spokesman Bayo Ananuga said the president commended the security agencies for their efforts in securing the girls and called on them to intensify operations to rescue students who are still in captivity. The statement reads in part, "I am relieved that all the 24 girls have been accounted for. Now we must urgently deploy more boots on the ground in vulnerable areas to prevent further kidnappings. My government will provide all necessary support to achieve this." The state governor, Nasir Idris, also expressed his appreciation to the president and security agencies for their roles in securing the girls' release.
These and the order that was being given to them by Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to ensure these our girls are being rescued. They are being rescued, and all of them are in good health. They are on their way coming to the state capital. And let me seize this opportunity on behalf of good people of Kebbi State to thank Mr. President for his concern for Kebbi State.
This is no doubt some cheering news and one that gives hope that all the remaining students in captivity, including those of a private school in Papiri, Niger State, who were abducted after the Maga girls, will soon regain their freedom.
This is Channels Television's breaking news.
We're getting reports from Guinea-Bissau where the president says he has been arrested while he was inside the presidential palace today. Also arrested are the Chief of Staff, General Bangintan, Deputy Chief of Staff, General Traore, and the Interior Minister. According to the president, no force was used against him in what he says is a coup d'etat currently happening right now in Guinea-Bissau. He says this coup was led by the Chief of Army Staff. The country is currently awaiting results from a presidential election that took place on Sunday, which President Embalo says he had won with 65% of the vote. Well, we'll bring you more details even as the situation unfolds in the country. Well, moving on with the program, the Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Dr. Jide Idris, believes Nigeria has made notable progress in the fight against some diseases with improved diagnostics and vaccine investment. He, however, admits that the agency continues to face challenges in controlling cholera, which is linked to rising antibiotic resistance.
Nigeria deeply values Japan's long-standing partnership. This support delivered through Japan WHO Cholera Preparedness and Response Grant comes at a time when Nigeria continues to strengthen its lessons from the 2024 cholera seasons. The donation, like Admiral mentioned, includes cholera central kits and peripheral kits, oral rehydration points kits, IPC materials, laboratory strengthening modules, diagnostic tools, sanitation hardware, logistics support and life-saving supplies for CTC, that's cholera treatment centers, cholera treatment units, and oral rehydration points nationwide. These resources will significantly enhance our national state-level capacity for treatment, early detection, and rapid response to outbreaks. As earlier highlighted by WHO and NCDC teams, cholera continues to pose a recurrent threat in Nigeria, driven by inadequate access to safe water and sanitation, population displacement and insecurity, weak community-based surveillance, gaps in oral cholera vaccine coverage, and insufficient wash infrastructure.
Away from Nigeria, U.S. President Donald Trump's senior Africa envoy, Masad Boulos, has rejected criticism that Washington's latest proposal to end Sudan's civil war is biased. The U.S., Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates have been attempting to mediate between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, which have been fighting for more than 2 years. Earlier this week, Sudan's army chief, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, said the latest ceasefire proposal is unacceptable and future ones would also be one-sided, he says, as long as the UAE is involved in the negotiations. The Gulf state denies it is offering support to the RSF, and on Tuesday, Mr. Boulos said the bias Sudan's army chief Burhan spoke of is non-existent. Well, the RSF in the meantime has agreed to the 3-month truce. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is calling for global pressure to stop the killings in Sudan and achieve a sustained ceasefire. Addressing Parliament on Tuesday, the UK leader said he had raised the ongoing and utterly horrifying situation in the North Africa country during the G20 summit in South Africa, adding that he is working with other nations to break restrictions on humanitarian aid and to demand accountability, which aims to deliver a transition to civilian rule. The United Kingdom is under particular pressure to stop the bloodshed in Sudan, as it is the official pen holder for the country within the United Nations Security Council. The British government is also facing accusations of UK military equipment being used by the Rapid Support Forces. Several parties, including Liberal Democrats, have called for the UK to stop selling arms to the UAE. But the UAE has repeatedly denied allegations that it's giving military support to the RSF. Deputy Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Nazat Khan, says recent months have seen progress towards accountability in Libya, even as new momentum builds towards justice in the country. Addressing the Security Council, she said the arrest of alleged war criminal Khalid Hashiri by German authorities in July is a clear example of the momentum that is building. El-Hashiri is alleged to be responsible for war crimes and crimes against humanity, including murder, torture, rape and sexual violence committed in Libya's notorious Mitiga prison from February 2015 to at least early 2020.
Through our collective work, there is a new momentum towards justice in Libya, and we now look towards the first trial to be held at the court in this situation. Based on the progress we now see, I firmly believe there is an opportunity for us to show a collective success based on the partnership between Libya, this Council, and the ICC. Through the arrest of Khalid Mohammed Ali El-Hashiri by German authorities on the 16th of July, on the basis of a warrant issued by Pretrial Chamber 1 of the ICC, we see a clear example of the momentum that we are building. The Office of the Prosecutor alleges that Mr. El-Hashiri is responsible for war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Mitiga prison from February 2015 to at least early 2020 through the imminent transfer of Mr. El-Hashiri to the ICC, based on the mandate provided by this Council, and through the first pre-trial and subsequently trial proceedings before the court in the situation of Libya, we send a clear message. Those responsible for inflicting suffering in Libya are mistaken if they believe they are still outside the reach of justice. Our office also remains clearly focused on securing the arrest and transfer of Mr. Osama El-Masri Najim for trial at the ICC for the war crimes and crimes against humanity that we allege he has committed in Mitiga prison. These alleged crimes also include murder, torture, rape, and sexual violence. We have received reports in recent weeks of his possible arrest in Libya, and we are seeking confirmation of this from the Office of the Attorney General. And we are also continuing steps, together with our registry colleagues, to ensure the effective tracking and arrest of Mr. Saif Suleiman Sneidel, in relation to whom Pretrial Chamber 1 unsealed an ICC arrest warrant on the 8th of August.
Ahead of the 2025 World AIDS Day, a new UNAIDS report warns that the global response to HIV has suffered its most significant setback in decades, citing far-reaching consequences of reduced international funding and waning global solidarity. The report says these cuts have sent shockwaves through low- and middle-income countries heavily affected by HIV. According to the report, failure to reach the 2030 global HIV targets under the next global AIDS strategy could lead to an additional 3.3 million new HIV infections between this year and 2030. The report adds that 40.8 million people are currently living with HIV worldwide. 1.3 new infections occurred in 2024, and 9.2 million people still lack access to treatment.
Global response to HIV has suffered its most significant setback in decades. That's why we are clearly saying in our World AIDS Day report, across 13 countries, the number of people newly initiated on treatment has declined compared to last year. Stockouts of HIV test kits and medicines have been reported in countries including Ethiopia and the DR Congo. Prevention services, already under strain before the crisis, were the hardest hit. 450,000 women in sub-Saharan Africa lost access to what we call mother mentors. These are women who connect them to services. 24% of providers reported interruptions in early infant diagnosis. Nigeria saw a 55% drop in condom distribution. Community-led organizations, the backbone of the HIV response, reported widespread closures, with more than 60% of women-led organizations suspending essential programs. In other words, the funding crisis exposed the fragility of the progress we fought so hard to achieve. Today, this is our call to action. 40.8, almost 41 million people are living with HIV worldwide. 1.3 million new infections occurred last year, and 9.2 million people are still not receiving treatment.
To politics now. In Uganda, the presidential aspirant of the opposition National Unity Platform Party, Robert Kyagulanyi, says security forces have arrested hundreds of its supporters that were attending a campaign rally. The party spokesperson said the arrest took place as Mr. Kyagulanyi, also known as Bobby Wine, campaigned in Kampala and Mukono districts, two major opposition strongholds. A police spokesperson, however, accused Mr. Bobby Wine of leading an illegal procession and that security forces had to intervene to restore order. Bobby Wine is challenging President Yoweri Museveni for the second time after he came second in the 2021 vote. Uganda is expected to hold its general elections in January 2026, with voters electing a new president and more than 500 members of parliament. South Africa's state-owned Transnet Engineering has unveiled its new 23E Trax locomotive fleet. The entity views this as a significant milestone after prolonged delays caused by global supply chain disruptions. COVID-19 shutdowns and shipping backlogs slowed the delivery of critical components, stalling assembly lines and delaying production targets. Our South Africa correspondent Innocent Samosa has more in this report.
The Group Chief Executive of Transnet, SOC, Advocate Michelle Phillips, says the unveiling of Transnet Engineering's new 23E trucks locomotive fleet marks a critical turning point for the state-owned rail infrastructure.
The country looks to Transnet to support broad industrial development in key commodity segments. The strategy repositions us to better serve our customers and key supply chains such as mining and manufacturing. Increasing locomotive availability unlocks capacity, enabling transit freight rail to sustainably handle increased volumes.
Phillips also underscored the importance of private-public partnerships. Transnet says the introduction of the 23E fleet is being positioned as a step towards restoring industrial capacity and boosting economic performance, but the questions remain about how much recovery those locomotives can realistically bring.
Yeah, so if you look at it, if we deliver about just 47 of these units in a year, they can actually earn us about 2 billion rand, which means that they're actually moving quite a lot of tonnages in a year. So 240 by the time in 2024 we started with ramping up, we were over 100. And now we're obviously sitting at locomotive 200 with having achieved the 43 in the last year.
But what economic returns does Transnet Engineering anticipate from completing the 23E fleet, and how will this influence future investments, regional trade efficiencies?
I hope that question will be different. What tonnages are we looking forward to enhance or to get? We are currently sitting at 160 million tons. We are looking into going into 180 tons with the TFR. We also want to see ourselves in the next few years doing the 250 million tons. So this is the objective. The main objective is to make sure that we move tons.
We're now at a beat rate of 6 locos per month, sometimes more, and that's up from 2 previously. So the partnership has been great. We've been very honest between Alstom and Transnet on where we needed to improve.
The rollout of the 23E trucks fleet is being closely watched as a potential boost for South Africa's rail sector and industrial recovery. From Durban, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Well, culture is one of the avenues countries and continents bridge the gap and tighten relations. Nigeria's relations with the European Union just got better through the Africa-Europe Partnerships for Culture West Africa. Our correspondent Amarachi Ubani reports.
It all begins here, the Madhouse, located on the grounds of the University of Lagos. Here, young creatives looking for a quiet place to harness their skills and expression can call home and create. The unusual structure, composed of shipping containers, overlooks a lagoon, but inside it is divided into an art gallery and other creative spaces. Guests are encouraged to take a peek before settling down for the launch of the Africa-Europe Partnerships for Culture West Africa, which takes place here.
So, for this project, we have...
Director of Goethe Institute Nigeria, Dr. Nadine Siegat, explains that the project is for the festival sector, just in time for the many celebrations to take place in Nigeria, while connecting with the rest of Africa.
Through initiatives like the African-European Partnerships for Culture, we are not only showcasing Nigeria's talent internationally, but we are also creating pathways for collaboration, learning, and a sustainable development within the culture industry. We try to bring together artists, institutions, festival organizers, and international partners, and through that strengthening networks that amplifies Nigeria's creative voice and global presence.
The project, implemented by the Goethe Institute with funding from the EU, aims to consolidate regional and international cultural cooperation, particularly through the internationalization of the festival sector.
The objective of our project is to promote regional and intra-Africa cultural cooperation between the European Union and Africa, strengthen partnership between platforms, events, cultural organizations, equip, but most importantly, this is what we're working on, equip festival professionals and artists from West Africa with the skills to engage internationally.
Present for the launch is the European Union Ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Gauthier Mignon, who speaks on the €30 million project.
And culture has always played a great part to link our people. Africans and Europeans share the vision that culture is not peripheral. It is central to sustainable development, social cohesion, and inclusive growth. We see culture as a driver of mutual understanding, creative innovation, and economic opportunity. And the EU remains committed to deepening partnerships that amplify African voices and foster cultural diversity.
Channeling the good wishes of the Nigerian federal government in support for the project, Special Assistant to the President on Art, Culture and Creative Economy, Mr. Ayomide Adiagbo, says the project corresponds with the renewed hope agenda.
His Excellency is a leader whose agenda champions creativity, innovation and youth empowerment, and the acceptance of AUPC work signals the President's commitment to creativity as a cornerstone of national transformation.
Even though Lagos is the starting point, the project will eventually extend to major cities in the country and later connect to other parts of Africa. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
And as we end the program today, here's our fun fact about the continent. Did you know that Africa holds approximately 30% of the world's remaining mineral reserves? This includes a significant portion of global reserves for resources like platinum, gold, cobalt and diamonds, which are crucial for various industries. The continent also holds a major share of specific minerals, such as up to 92% of platinum, 50% of gold, and over 50% of cobalt. The continent is indeed blessed. And that's it on the program for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olainde.